Black women want you to be wives. They want y'all to be wives. They want you to be in that ASAP Rocky position. You take care of the babies. You do the cooking. You do the cleaning. You do all the domestic labor and all that kind of stuff while she's out there being the breadwinner. She's out there being the provider. She's out there being the leader. And the Black female intellectuals, they will call it matrifocality. That's what the Black female intellectuals call it. They call it matrifocality. We have a matrifocal community, a community that is led, or community of households led primarily by women. And the males in the household play a subordinate role in relationship to these women. They are supporting actors. They are not the star.
Hey, my black pill brothers. You cannot make this shit up, right? I've been telling you guys for eons, I do mean eons, about the gynocracy and exactly what it is. And Doc just nailed it. He just nailed it. This is the black gynocracy. Now, Diane Stewart calls it the Black Africana Kinship Network. Dr. Johnson calls it the Gynopatesto Black Female Network. I call it the gynocracy. And as Dr. Neal actually says, the black female scholars call it what? Matrifocality. All these fancy names for the same thing. Now, Dr. Neal actually goes into more detail, whereas the white community, the white feminists are trying to replicate the same thing. They call it in the men, they call it the richer sex, they call it a bunch of different things, where they call the wife the supportive parent or the supportive partner, almost like the emotional support dog or animal, something like that. And they call the so-called feminist, career feminists, the breadwinner, the breadwinning wives, or the breadwinning partner, or the lead partner. So that's done the video. I'm not going to put all that stuff in here today. But there's a feminist that calls husbands like that, like A$AP Rocky, the lead caregiver, to make it sound nice instead of the wife or the role reversal. The black women have been doing this for a very long time. We think the baby boys are. We think the homosexuals are. Homosexuals are the wives, quote unquote, in that partnership arrangement. Black folks have been doing this forever. Black women have been doing this forever. Look at Jody and Baby Boy. He just wasn't formally the wife. Okay, he was the concubine, but he was not formally the wife. This is not new amongst the black community. It's not. The thing is that feminism has allowed a formal place in more of a accepting role of them doing this. And guess who the first people who are on the forefront of doing this is? Black women. As we call it, a matrifocal relationship, which it comes from the South. Like I said, the black family, as my partner put it, my friend put it, is a survival unit. And a lot of this adaptation that we had to go through for our kind to survive through the horrors of slavery and Jim Crow developed this. And they've been arguing about this for the last 100 years when they talked about the black matriarchy. I was just looking at another video from 1970 that talked about the black matriarchy and how offensive it was to women, even while they know they were doing this. It was embarrassing to black women to do this. But guess what they didn't do when they had the opportunity? They never gave it up. And you see with the covers, they just doubled down. All BLM did was actually express what was already thought. Black men were never part of the black family. They never were. Black fathers were always a resource. A matriarchy doesn't necessarily need fathers because the father's not really there for the male leadership role. It's always done by others, which is why there's videos begging black men to do what? Provide a male leadership role to women that have babies out of wedlock, that have boys out of wedlock. Because that is the normal gynopotestal, matrifocal, gynocracy, Africana kinship network role that men are supposed to play in this society, in this culture. And they're getting hostile and pissed that black men won't step up and do it. I was just looking at another video from the LaPiece where this woman who says she refuses to be a partner or a wife to a man that has children. She didn't want a ready-made family. She wanted to start her own with a man that was childless. And he had a woman arguing with her because she really wasn't arguing for fathers that have their own children, because that's not the case. The thing is that she was saying that even though there's a lot of women in our culture that have already made the mistake, decided to be single mothers, decided to have children without partners, that they're already here. And what about the children? We need to clean this stuff up. What they're saying is that we need black men to do their role or their part in this gynopotestal, this matrifocal relationship that we have in the black community, in the black ADOS culture. I know that because my family, the women in my family, have formed a gynopotestal or matrifocal relationship with linked households and linked families amongst women that control their households. So imagine being a Sigma that has to manage this kind of stuff because they still look to me to be that enforcer, to step in and play the so-called masculine role when necessary for all my grandchildren, put my daughters in check, put my children in check. When they can't do it and they need backup, basically I'm the last line of defense. Even though my ex, is hard-headed as hell and we couldn't see eye to eye because she wanted control, and I'm a Sigma and I'm not going to be controlled. I'm not going to play that passive role. I can't tell you how many times I was asked to play the A$AP Rocky passive role, man, and it just never sit well with me, which is why I'm not married. That was a spot that was offered to me. And I can tell you, I've been offered good money to play that role in certain circumstances. Not enough. They never hit most of them I dealt with didn't have that kind of money, or nor their families had that kind of money. But they would have helped me out tremendously if I had accepted that gynopotestal role. I just didn't. Looking back on it, I probably should have. I've been much more well off and much more set as far as finances if I had. But it's always been there. And what the doc says, which he didn't accept it either because I'm sure it was offered to him too, what the doc says is accurate. And the only difference is that in 1970, they were actually arguing against it. But in 2023, they're actually putting it out front. This is what we want. This is what we want. This is what we're demanding from your elite on down. Now that white women have co-signed it, and if you really want the whole thing, I'll put the link in the description to the doc's almost 2-hour lecture. Really, it was a lecture, 2-hour lecture about this. That they actually admit this stuff. They admit the need, not only the need, but not only the formation and the fact of the gynocracy, but they actually wish that they want to enhance the gynocracy and put it out front. The A$AP Rocky position is not new. The only difference is, up until I would say 20 years ago, they were embarrassed to actually put it out front. They knew that's how things ran, but the thing is, they didn't want the white people knowing this is how things run. They want to blame it on black men. They're just weak. They're just not up to snuff. You still hear it. We're running circles around them, and they just can't keep up. And blah, 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 blah. But they don't tell you the damage that they're doing to their boys and how compromised they want their boys. This is intentional. This is not accidental. No culture can do the same shit for 200 years and it'd be an accident that they don't know. Especially after the last 60 years of trying to affirm and raise the standard of black boys. We're still in the same spot. We're still in the same spot. You look at educated black men versus educated black women, it's still 3-1. Still almost 3-1. It's 2-1, actually. Okay, it used to be 3-1. It's 2-1. That's been that way forever. The vast majority of valedictorians still today in black high schools are female. Still today. That's what Moynihan was talking about, 60 years ago. That's what Clark wrote about, some 70 years ago. It's not new. It's not going to change because they don't want it to change. They just want the negative outcomes or the negative press that they get from having a matriarch or gynocracy. They want to blame it on you. That's when brothers bounce and go someplace else where the conditions and the environment is more suitable for their progression, they get pissed. They were pissed at Judgy Bitch. They try to run Judgy Bitch off the internet because she published a study that says black boys are fare just as well, just as good, and just as intelligent, and fare better with the change of mother. This is a gynopotestal pattern that goes all the way back to emancipation. Black boys were never supposed to be educated. They were always supposed to be compromised and controlled and used for labor. I have no problem with black boys being pushed into trades, okay? It's an honorable blue-collar work that's had a long 300-year tradition. I would never say that black people shouldn't. They should be honored. And black boys and black men that want to be in those trades and want to do the physical labor and make good money, because they make damn good money, especially in environments like this. But the thing is, it should not be restricted to just that, because that's what they were restricted to back in 1890, back after Jim Crow, back before civil rights. They were restricted. Still today, they push black boys into trades, and not as much as they used to. Now black boys are just floundering. If you ask a black woman what kind of man does she want, she wants the drug dealer or schemer or scammer, off books, undocumented wages. And they say they want a scholar, a PhD, a Wall Street banker. No, they want compromised black males. Even your elite women want compromised black males. Now your white women, I was looking at this one. There's one article where 3 white women shared one compromised black male. I guess you're going to see it. That's going to be the end thing, where white women are going to want their own compromised black male for their very own. Why should black girls have all the fun? Anyway, that's probably all I got for this particular, not a rant. It's not a rant or ramble. It's not long enough to be a ramble. It's not passionate enough to be a rant. So I'll just call this a thought, warning thought. I guess that's a good topic for it. A good title for it. We'll see. With that, I'm going to jump off here. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.